Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19. This is the Last Frontier series, episode number 3. We have our mini farm here that's just about ready to get its very first planting. And turns out that this seeder is a seeder fertilizer combo, so we'll actually be able to do both with it at the same time. It's pretty good size, but apparently it will fit this tractor. Pull a little bit more to the left, I think. There we go. Alright, so we want to turn it on. Maybe. Are you hooked up properly? Let's go ahead and turn on the info so we can figure out what's going on here. There we go. Alright, are you all... Aha. Attach hoses. Might be all that was missing. It looks like it's doing both at the same time. This is really good because I was worried that we did not have a spreader of some kind and that we were going to have to maybe scrape by without it for our first harvest till we had the money, or have to sell more of our crop in storage that we have in order to make that happen. Let's go down to the far end here. This traction mod, it really is a different driving experience. I mean, even in a field like this that's freshly plowed and cultivated, is still a real challenge to drive. I do like it. It's far more realistic. I mean, the tractor is bucking like crazy on me. Once we're done with this field will be good to go for a while. And I'm thinking Seasons requires fertilization twice, but I'm not sure that regular base game does. I don't normally play regular base game. I'm usually on Seasons only. This certainly won't take us very long. We'll get through this project quite quickly. And from there, this field will be ready to go for a while. Like I said, the fertilization I don't expect to have to do again, though we'll check in on it throughout the growth cycle if it becomes necessary. But once we're done with this, we'll be able to begin our project on the major field behind the farm. Behind the farmhouse, anyway. Now that those trees are cleared out of there and those stumps are cleared out of there, we do have... And did I go... it looks like I missed a spot. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and fill out the headland a little bit more. Crossway on this, and then Should free us up to circle back around. It's hard to see with that traction mod. The tread wear, you know, really shows, and so it's hard to tell if you've missed a spot or whether it's just the tread bearing into the ground visibly for the time being. You can see fertilizer wise, not making much of a dent, but the seed certainly is. So on that project behind us, before we start plowing, I want to take full advantage of what that space offers us, which is it's grass right now. It's fully grown grass. And as big as it is, there's got to be some money in those bales. And likewise, there's other parts to this farm surrounding this field, surrounding the lake, and up to the entrance where we'll eventually be putting all these placeables. There's grass in those areas too. Now I won't do it immediately, but I want to take advantage of that and collect bales from there as well. So there's definitely money to be had in baling. And so it will not be a waste to get that equipment and do that here, even though I think in the short term we certainly won't make back what we spend on it initially. But as time wears on, we will definitely get that money back. Alright, this will just about do it. Oh, this is going to be close. I'm not sure we're going to make it. Let's be safe. Alright, here we go. Final trip, and this field will be done here in just a second. And growing. And I suppose the nice thing about not being on seasons is we'll be able to harvest this thing again and again and again on a pretty regular basis. Of course, we will want some crop rotation, or actually I'm not even sure if that's going to be a necessity on here. It will be a while, I think, before that other field is ready. So I'm not sure if I want to return this to the shed, but I suppose we will. Stick it out just a little bit. Straighten you out some. There we go. good right there. That spot, that's good. Okay, detach hoses, attach the trailer, and away we go. Alright, so that project is done. We need to mow that field behind us, and that means it's time to go get our mower. We definitely are up for spending a little bit of money to do so. I do think might be in our best interest to get a front and rear mower. This tractor won't handle a triple, it won't handle a double mower on the back, but a side mower off the rear and a front mower. I think we do have the horsepower to do that. So we'll head down to the shop, pick those up, and our maintenance level just dropped. Tractor has pretty much no resale values. It's logged a ton of hours. Alright, let's turn that back off. Mowers. First off, garage. This thing has 150 horsepower. So 150 horsepower. Front mower, 19,000. Okay, we'll go ahead and get the Pottinger. Now that's where I'd like that rear, but you can see it's 160 horsepower. We don't have that. But with this, we can do... which one? Well, it's a little wider for that one, and actually 10 horsepower less. That is a rear one, right? Yes. So a little mix and match for us. 35,000 for that. Not cheap. Straighten out so it doesn't snap over when we hook up. Goodness. Can't reverse all of a sudden. There we go. No hoses. Okay. So that'll be our right rear. Oops. Jumped back in. There we go. PTO's already hooked up. Now this is going to be a pretty heavy load. It's not going to have the easiest time cutting grass, but the field is largely flat. There's a bit of a hill, but it's not extreme, so I think we'll be okay. I think our bigger issue right now is we no longer have a storage shed for equipment. So if it's raining, our equipment is rusting very quickly. So affording a storage shed in the not too distant future is certainly on the cards for us. Alright, there's plenty of grass up here to mow, like I said, but we're going to focus on creating the new field first. Okay, so unfold. We're going to need our mini map because field 26. Okay, I think we're into field 26 now. Well, let's double check for sure. Are we in our field? Right on the edge. We'll see if it lets us mow. It's already lowered. Okay. Turn that on. Unfold this one. Alright, turn that on. Okay, right now there's no issue. We are losing bits and pieces. Or is that just weeds in the field? Or bushes? Okay, struggling a little with this hill. Oh, I didn't think we were gonna go this high up. Okay, now I think the field I want to run along these lines, but you can see we could actually go a little bit higher. So I think we could make one more trip coming back this way. Or we just line it to here anyway. That is where I want to put the edge of the field. Is right there with that true line. It's kind of our guide. Okay, we're just about to the edge here. Okay, now we're holding a pretty good line here, but we don't want to do the whole thing today. We're kind of setting ourselves up for the field. Like I said, there's plenty more grass to mow here, but a lot of this is going to end up not part of the field. Okay, I think that's gonna about do that. Nope, too much, too much. And I'll come back a little bit. There we go. Okay, looks like we kind of missed this when we started with the front mower. There we go. And now that I'm kind of off the line, let's go ahead and go this long way. I'm glad at least this mowing job's not going to take forever, because I'm sure the plowing part will. This little hill's not fun. There's a little more back here behind us too. Turn the other corner. There we go. Doesn't make a perfect corner, and that's okay though. This, by the way, will also make it much easier when it comes time for plowing to make a straight field. Map is just a little bit laggy with the amount of objects. I think the amount of trees. Ooh, what did we just... Oh, we have a stump left. I took that stump out. I swear I took that stump out. Bring the stump grinder back and pick that up. Probably do that before we get in here with the windrower, otherwise that windrower is going to jump. Reap what you sow. Alrighty then. I got an achievement. Been playing multiplayer the whole time on FS19, so there will be some achievements showing up on this single player campaign. As this series is born loosely out of the other series. And the other series that we're doing on the Pacific Northwest map, the COVID-19 series, is born out of, well, COVID-19, coronavirus, as concept, as an idea, talking point. Well, on that talking point, things are getting interesting. Things are definitely getting interesting. So, I've been in quarantine now for just over 2 weeks. But realistically, we've been on a light quarantine for about a month now. Now, of course, the US got into the COVID-19 game a little bit late compared to everyone else. Well, not everyone, but compared to a lot of nations out there. They were suffering from a lot of cases like Italy long before the US had more than a couple hundred cases. And almost all of those were right here in my home state of Washington, but not in this part of the state that I live in. So things were relatively calm here, but we were definitely taking precautions that other states were definitely not taking. Now, with that being said, except had this partial quarantine going for a while. So, over the last 3 weeks, I've only been out 3 times. The first time was still right at the end of the partial quarantine. At that point, a couple people were working from home, but otherwise it was very much business as usual around here. The one exception being all of a sudden everybody in the US was interested in toilet paper and sanitary napkins, and that was, pretty much it. Other than that, everything was normal, but people were panic buying toilet paper, which is completely absurd, but hey, we're America. we live on the edge of absurdity all the time. It's what we do. Second time I went out was the day after we began the full-scale quarantine that we're now in. The essential workers only, and see, told you I need to get rid of that thing, otherwise it's going to create problems. That's that stump. I'm still going to hit it, aren't I? There we go, we got around it. Now, when I went out that time, things were a little bit different, but only slightly. It was still just as busy out, and numerous shelves were empty of items, but it was still, for the most part, completely unimportant items. And while there was a couple people wearing masks, the huge majority were still in normal attire and completely uninterested in anything other than their panic buys. Now, when I went out that time, it was very busy at a time where it's not normally busy. So a lot of people, more people were out than what is normal. And that time, there was definitely people panic buying. Now, I was a scout in the Army, and my job was to look and listen. Scouts are the eyes and ears of the Army. So, I did a lot of observation. And while most people, 75, 80%, were behaving completely normal, there was definitely a percentage, good 20-25% of the people that were there, that were behaving extremely differently to what is considered normal. And they were the ones who were doing the panic buying. So, on that occasion, and I certainly won't name anyone, but there is a wholesale store in this country, one of a couple major bulk food grocery stores that was out of a number of items, but definitely not every item. And one in particular, laundry detergent, was among the things that people were panic buying. And again, absurdity, US, right? Yay! Well, the person who was in line behind me got to the front of the line, and I hadn't left. The box person was still finishing things up, and I was just paying when the cashier notices that the individual had items that were no longer on the permitted list because they were trying to preserve what they had left of stock, and that being laundry detergent. They had 4, 5, 6 gallons of laundry detergent that they were holding on to. And the cashier points out to them, you did see the sign that said 1 per person per day, right? That individual completely freaked out on that cashier and said, what if I need to do laundry? I have to come back to the store 6 times? The cashier kind of chuckled, as I did, but they tried really hard to be respectful and then handle it accordingly, and then I walked away. Third time I went out, just a few days ago, you could really see that the coronavirus was starting to take its toll on the U.S. We are now number 1 in the world in most cases, majority of that being New York City, who still is not taking proper measures to stop the spread of the virus. Our stubbornness, our arrogance as a nation, as a people, is really showing its ugly, ugly head right now. And to back that up, there is evidence that shows that the U.S. not only has the most cases, and that we know, but it is spreading more rapidly in the U.S. than anywhere else, and that comes down almost entirely to that simple fact of the arrogance. People are not adhering to the quarantine. A lot of people are not adhering to the quarantine, and more so, people are taking it seriously now, at least, but people aren't staying home. You go out and there are still people everywhere, and there's a very short list of what it should be that you go and you do, which is why I've only left 3 times in quite a few weeks, and it's always been to the store, and it's been groceries, and it's been because we didn't panic buy. But like I said, this time it was different. There were still a ton of people not taking the quarantine seriously. It's still going out on a way too regular basis, but this time, at least, most people were definitely cautious, taking extreme precautions. Half were in masks, half were in gloves. Everyone practicing social distancing, keeping things open, and taking measures to not spread the virus. So at least there's that. But I will say that the people of my state are a bit more open to doing things that involve protecting the environment, that including people around us, while other parts of the country are very arrogant or ignorant and don't take such measures. New York's case, I think it's arrogance, and that's the epicenter now. Alright, well, we're getting close to done with this Mojob, and as soon as we do finish this Mojob, we're going to go ahead and call that an episode. So that'll be the actual Field 26 planted, fertilized, and growing, and the giant Field 26, the rear Field 26, well, mowing job nearly done. But then we're going to have to get a windrower, and a baler, and a front loader, so we definitely still have some equipment to obtain. But for the longevity of the playthrough, those are all necessary items anyway. These rocks, we're going to have to work around them. Not going to be taking them out. So it will be part of the landscape within the field. But we'll definitely not be going straight up to the edges like we have here with the Modhub. So we'll try to keep the grass mowed tightly. But the field itself will be a little more liberal with the space around the rocks. So, while some people definitely still not taking this seriously, at least many are at least starting to take precautions and are taking this virus a bit more seriously than before. Get this in one. I don't know if we can. Oh, yes we can. Alright, we won't shut it off. It's not that far back to here. Okay, and our last little bit. Actually, we can just drive straight through this way to get it. Oh, I think I missed just a little bit. I got it. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. It'll go a long ways to getting this series up and running, and especially farming sim as a whole on this channel. There's a lot of channels that do farming sim, and many of them do it exclusively, so they don't do other content. So for this channel to be able to pick up with that when I'm doing multiple games, multiple series, I do need that little bit of assistance with that algorithm. So please do hit that like button, and if you like what you saw, hit subscribe to see more action. I'm Decathlon Gamer. I'll see you next time. Be safe out there, everyone. Bye for now.